got a lot to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Crew to talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, this is from UFO Mania, sent to me by Tim Clark. Thank you, Tim. Showing supposedly 2 orbs and a helicopter. So if this is legit, that would be exciting. Is the helicopter there because of the orbs? Are the orbs there because of the helicopter? Is it simply a coincidence? It's not, I'm not seeing any crazy maneuvers of these objects. There's nothing, super fancy going on here. But in a way, that's kind of an argument that it might be legit. AI. Okay, so 2 helicopters and 1 orb. There you go. Okay, so not 2 orbs and a helicopter. But yeah, I mean, if it was AI or CGI, I would expect it to be a little bit more interesting looking, a little bit flashier, a little jazzier. But, maybe they've just gotten clever, very possible. And they are giving us this grainy, interesting footage. In a way, it is too good to be true, where you have this big orb and these 2 helicopters going, around it. So let me know if you think this is legit or not. If this is legit, I would love some follow-up from the witnesses who supposedly took this video. But yeah, very interesting stuff. So let me know what you think about that, guys. Meanwhile, Paulina Luna has some strong words for AARO. She even talks about redirecting AARO's funds, cutting AARO's budget. I love it. I love it. From Matt Laszlo at Ask a Poll, she is asked about the story that I reported on the other day, where Mick West and Tim Phillips, the former interim director of AARO, were talking, and Phillips said that Congress was denied access to SAPs, that the UFO caucus was denied access. Well, okay, so Matt Laszlo asked her about this. If indeed Tim Phillips was right in alleging that U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson and Oversight Chair James Comer denied the Congressional UAP caucus access to SAPs, special access programs, the secret stuff. Luna said, "We actually just asked people about that. They both denied it. So, it's unclear if she means she asked Comer and Mike Johnson about it, or if she asked 2 different people about it. I think she meant 2 different people about it. And anyway, they denied the story from Tim Phillips. So it'd be interesting to know what the truth is on that. Of course, even if Phillips were correct, would she be able to talk about, the behind closed door secret stuff that the UAP caucus is trying to do? But I don't trust a word out of, the former AARO director's mouth either. So, there's that. But let me know your take on it. However, Matt Laszlo says, caught our ear. But I also, too, Paulina Luna says, don't really like AARO's response on it. So I've told people that I think AARO needs to have their funds redirected. I love it. Do it, Anna. Cut their funds. Cut their funds. Meanwhile, breaking news. Timmons probes drone threats over military bases. Let's see. We have today Subcommittee on Military and Foreign Affairs Chairman William Timmons and Republican lawmakers are on the panel are continuing to investigate how the federal government addresses drone incursions on U.S. military installations and sensitive sites. In letters to the DoD, Pete Hegseth, Attorney General Pam Bondi, and Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, the lawmakers request documents and communications concerning the federal government's authorities and operational posture for countering unmanned aerial systems within the United States. The Subcommittee on Military and Foreign Affairs is continuing to investigate how the federal government addresses drone incursions on U.S. military installations and sensitive sites. Recent high-profile incursions near sensitive military facilities, power infrastructure, and public events suggest that the current framework for domestic counter-drone operations remains fragmented and, in some cases, insufficiently agile to meet evolving threats. So there you go. Members of Congress are actively pursuing getting answers on the mystery drones, those mysterious incursions over our military installations and infrastructure seen by so many in New Jersey and really across the country and the world. They've been shutting down airports in China and all over the place. So, yeah, a global phenomenon of these mysterious craft that are incurring, whatever the word is, on sensitive areas. But again, this isn't limited to the U.S. This is a global phenomenon. I would like some of the Congress members to address that aspect of it. You know, it doesn't seem to be an adversarial nation, and it is anomalous. I don't know if they're going to go there, but at least they are, publicly trying to get answers on this and to address how better to deal with these incursions. So it's exciting that they are on this and they haven't completely dropped the ball on the mystery drones. You notice it says the Republican Military and Foreign Affairs Subcommittee. So I hope it doesn't get political, but we do have politicians doing it. So what you're going to do? But yeah, there you go. That is what is going on. They are pursuing trying to address the mystery drone situation and what to do about it. Meanwhile, check out this awesome footage from John Bell at Florida Real UFO. Everybody should check out his channel where he has like nightly contacts with anomalous craft. And you see this big, bright, glowing object in the sky, this orb or whatever it is. And then there's this other clip, which is really interesting. So, wait for it. Yeah, you see this sphere diminishing its light. And you see these other objects maneuvering in the skies in a way that I don't think birds or raccoons would do. You can never discount raccoons. But yeah, I think that's a great sighting of these orbs maneuvering in the sky. I just love it. Let's see that again. Okay, you have this one bright object that starts to dim, and then you can see these other objects maneuvering in the skies. And let me know if you think those are birds or bugs, but I don't think those are birds or bugs. I don't think those are satellites. I don't think those are planes. I think we're looking at something anomalous. Just one more incident that John has recorded of his many, many contacts. Meanwhile, Casper Site and other channels, and I've been seeing this online, are reviving the Haim Eshed story. Now, I've talked a lot about Brigadier General Haim Eshed, co-founder of the Israeli space program, in his claims about the Galactic Federation and how the Galactic Federation are interacting with world governments. That Trump knew about it and wanted to disclose this in his first term, but was talked out of it, which is interestingly echoed by something Ross Coulthart said, is that Trump knew about it and wanted to disclose. But Ross's information was that he was threatened into not doing it. Either way, more and more people are talking about Haim Eshed's claims again, and I love it. So Casper is showing this clip from NBC News. Let's give a listen.
Exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Okay, yeah, so I've talked a lot about that, and, I've even given some possible reasons of, explanations for what they meant by that. We don't know what space and spaceships are. Well, I have some potential insight on all of that, at least stuff that I've gleaned from my own research. For example, Dick Allgaier did that amazing remote viewing with Daz Smith on the Phoenix Lights. And they were both seeing very similar things. This giant craft, this giant control room of that craft, awesome energy source, and a human-like being that was interacting with smaller beings, presumably like the gray aliens. Dick Allgaier was able to make contact with that human-like being, and they were able to interact in that weird consciousness space of remote viewing. And the being was kind of brushing Dick off, saying, why should I talk to you? You don't even know what space is. For example, you think stars are just balls of gas. They're actually portals. So, go away, you cretin, you caveman. I got other things to do. So that seemed to be, more or less the extent of it. But he was saying that, yeah, humans didn't know what space was, in that the suns are portals. And I've given various pieces of evidence in various videos, complimenting that, suggesting that in various different ways that the suns are portals going to other stars in some cases, portals to outside of this reality or dimension, something like that. So that could be part of what Haim Eshed's information is, if it's legit. The Galactic Federation's wants and demands of humanity before they reveal themselves to the public. It could be that spaceships, because we don't know what space or spaceships are. Spaceships aren't simply to go into space. Spaceships are to go through suns and through portals into other dimensions. They're not simply 3D vehicles, but the way that the beings use them, they are multi-dimensional vehicles. And space is much more complicated than we, understand. And yeah, there's other dimensions and there's portals and all sorts of craziness. And so I think that's maybe what the Galactic Federation meant, or at least part of it, if Haim Eshed is on the level. Now, he's a very credible guy. Like I say, Brigadier General, co-founder of the Israeli space program. He's an older man. He, wrote this book. He's, done these interviews. So he doesn't seem like somebody that would fib. He doesn't seem like a hoaxer or a fibber. He seems like somebody that at the end of his life is telling the truth about stuff. But hey, I don't know the guy. I would love your thoughts on all of this. If nothing else, I would love for Haim Eshed, who I believe is still living, to come out answering some of these questions, because that would be super fascinating. I do think there probably is a Galactic Federation or something analogous to that. I mean, I don't know what they call themselves, but that seems like a likely word they would use for us to understand. But beings that do come to this, planet seem to operate largely by the same rules. No Phoenix lights during daytime over multiple cities, no giant craft flying around, no obvious overt interference in our affairs, or, showing themselves publicly. No, they're not doing UFO disclosure. Stuff like that. They might gently tweak us around the edges and try to increase our consciousness and our understanding. The theory of wow, as Grant Cameron says. But that's about as far as they're going to go. Yeah, it's up to us to, look closer at what they're trying to show us and to realize this greater truth of the reality that we live in. But yeah, all the various races that come here seem to operate by those rules, no mass contact, right? So that seems to suggest a guiding set of principles or even laws, as if they're under some sort of common bureaucratic structure, like a galactic federation. UN in space, a NATO in space, space NATO, space-o. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a galactic federation, but it makes sense to me that there would be, and it makes sense according to the behavior that we've seen. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments below. Meanwhile, Christopher Mellon says this: today I sent Wall Street Journal a formal request to correct serious inaccuracies in its recent two-part UAP coverage. Accuracy and transparency serve the public. Letter below outlines the issues, and he goes into a long, well-written article or letter. Chris is a very good writer, and he goes into a lot of detail. Moreover, as briefly noted above, the Wall Street Journal article fails to acknowledge that those currently responsible for investigating UAP on behalf of the U.S. government admit that UAP are real. The public needs to understand that the U.S. government has compelling sensor information involving multiple cases of intelligently controlled craft that defy our present scientific understanding and engineering capabilities. These are plainly not secret U.S. spycraft, nor do they seem to be the result of technical breakthroughs by Russia, China, or other nations. It is frankly astonishing that the Wall Street Journal could write a two-part series on UAP that fails to mention the current position of the U.S. government and even seeks to create an opposite and inaccurate impression in the minds of the American people. In fact, Dr. Kozlowski, who took over the Pentagon's UAP office after the lovely Dr. Kirkpatrick resigned, acknowledged to ABC News during a June 4th, 2024 interview that the origin of UAP, which he says represent a national security and safety of flight issue, could perhaps represent a non-human intelligence. Granted, Dr. Kozlowski also states that most of the cases are readily explainable and that his office has yet to find incontrovertible evidence of an ET spacecraft. But he admits that dozens of UAP cases defy conventional explanations. Yeah, despite multiple whistleblowers coming to AARO and saying, hey, here's where the spacecraft are, they still say there's no spacecraft. But whatever. At least he does admit, Kozlowski, that there is anomalous stuff going on. That's because he's smart and he knows that nobody's going to buy the other line that there is just nothing to see here at all. But there's a very strong letter from Chris actually demanding that the Wall Street Journal correct their errors and their inaccuracies. I would love to see a response from the Wall Street Journal saying, hey, yeah, we were wrong. That was bad journalism. The Pentagon gave us $50 and told us to write this. And we were broke that day and needed some tacos, so we said yes. But I don't think that's going to happen. Do you think the Wall Street Journal will issue a retraction or a correction? Hey, maybe they will. Stranger things have happened, but I'm not holding my breath on it. Either way, kudos to Chris for keeping the heat on the people pumping out disinformation. Meanwhile, did you know there was a new crop circle? Yeah, this guy right here. What's really interesting about this one is that it occurred 10 years to the day apart from this one right here. And, very similar designs, circular pattern with, spokes coming off of it or petals, whatever those are. Per spirit stem, these two crop circles appearing in Italy are exactly 10 years apart to the day. June 23rd, 2015, June 23rd, 2025. The older one contains a message in binary code, Timeo et ferentes, which means I fear the Greeks even when they bear gifts. I guess that just means beware Greeks bearing gifts. That's just another way of saying that. Maybe that's the Italian way of saying that. Is that a warning about ETs? Has this particular crop circle been vetted? Is that a legitimate crop circle, a legitimately anomalous crop circle, not a man-made one? I have not investigated that particular one, but if you have, let me know what you think, because that's an interesting message. And it's really interesting that it appears to the day 10 years apart from the new one in Italy. I love that. But again, I don't know if that's anomalous or man-made. But if you do, let me know what you think in the comments below. Last but not least, what happens when coyotes discover a trampoline? All right. I wish they would bounce up and down or something, but there's a little bounce. There's a little bounce there. But let me know what you think about these awesome coyotes discovering this trampoline and everything else covered today in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support the channel, you can grab a hoodie or a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store. Become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Rude, signing out.